Hey guys, welcome back to Truth or Trouble. I'm your host, Macy Ann, and today is a special episode because for the first time ever, I've got a guest with me, and not just any guest, someone with an incredible, powerful story. Her name is Hazel, and when she was around 13 years old, she was actually preparing to transition behind her parents' back. But everything changed when she went to church camp and found her faith in God. Now her life looks completely different, and she's here to share that story. What she's learned, what she wishes she knew back then, and what she wants other young people to understand before making life altering choices. Hazel, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome to Truth or Trouble.
Got stuck, you were looking for clues, but that just made you more confused. You just need to see how lovely, how lovely, how lovely it is for you.
Hazel, this is Hazel, everyone.
Hi, hello.
So, Hazel, for people who don't know you yet, do you want to give them like a brief introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Hazel. I'm the owner of Hazel's Truth on TikTok and Instagram. Barely on X. I probably posted 3 times on X and like 1 time on YouTube. But I am really into conservative Christian content, and I post a lot about my faith and my political journey, and yeah.
And I literally found you. It's so funny because we were talking about this when we were on the phone, but I found you on TikTok and you had like, I want to say like around like 100 followers. Like you were like fresh off account. And I was like, I love this girl. And I can't remember what video it was, but I remember just like liking it and I followed you. And then like probably a month later, you commented on my TikTok, you're like followed. I was like, oh my gosh, like she's following me back. So it was so funny. How it just
You
happened.
came up on my For You page, and I was going through my video and went to your account to follow you, and I saw that it said follow back, and I was like, oh my gosh.
It's there. But it's crazy because I mean, of course, like I see you on social media and like that's like my perspective of you. But when we are on the phone, you told me something that was really powerful
Oh
that when
no.
you were around 12, and correct me if I'm wrong, you were actually planning to transition.
Yeah,
So can you like
yeah.
walk us through that? What was going on through your mind back then? Like, just tell
Yeah,
us.
absolutely. So, from ages 12, 13, 14, it was around junior high. It was fresh out of COVID, and I was still considered like normal in COVID, but whenever I came back, because I wasn't allowed to have social media during that time,
Oh,
my parents like kind of like grounded me from social media during that time. So I was very lonely during COVID, very lonely. And whenever I came back to school, it felt like I was so behind all my friends. I was so behind all my trends, all the trends and everything like that. And so I felt so alone. And so like the people I started to like draw towards, or the people that started like when I was like, because I was so desperate for friends, I started being friends with somebody that were like not good influences, I would say.
mhm.
And but eventually, as we started growing up, they started to just like I don't know how to put this, but they just like started getting more extreme than they were
Yeah.
first. And like at first it was like fine. Like it was fine. Like I was just kind of like, oh, it's whatever. Like maybe they're not gonna like really, maybe it's just a phase, but like over time it would just start to grow more and more extreme. And eventually at first I was like no, like I'm Christian, like this is my ground, I'm not gonna do anything, because they eventually like were all like considering themselves LGBTQ plus. They all started
Yeah.
changing their names and their pronouns. And at first I was at the very beginning, the first like 5 months, I was like, no, like this, I'm a Christian, like, but like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, these are just my friends. I'm not gonna fall into that. But eventually, they pressured me to stop going to church. I started hanging out with them more than I would hang out with like the word of the Lord. And eventually they pulled me down with them, I would say. And I changed my gender. I first of all, sorry. I consider myself atheist at that point. I was like, I don't
Okay.
believe in God anymore. I'm done. Like, I can't go to, I would hide out in the bathroom in church. I would fake everything. Like, if I was going to church, I'd fake being sick. I'd fake literally anything to just not go to church. And if I had to go to church, I would just hide out in the bathroom and I would avoid everyone. And eventually, because I was not in that presence anymore, I eventually did change my gender. I changed my pronouns to she, they, and then they, them. So I like non-binary. I don't even know if that even
Okay.
counts. But and then I changed my name. And then I didn't consider myself straight anymore, and I was just in a really, really dark place. And eventually my friends told me about somebody that they knew that would transition without adult consent, and so I was going to go down that path. But
Wow.
yeah.
Thank God you didn't. And would you say, I mean, of course, you're like your friends in your friend group, but did anything online like up it, I guess, and you like thinking it was a
Mhm.
okay type of decision?
Yeah. So eventually I did get social media around 7th grade, whenever after COVID. And so whenever I got social media, there was like all these social media influencers because like, it's the algorithm. It's whatever you like, it's what keeps coming. And so whenever
Exactly.
I would like stuff that's like LGBTQ plus, eventually there was adults that would come on and say like, it's okay if you feel this way. You probably are a boy. You probably aren't a girl. And like I would just like watch these and I'd be like, yeah, they're right. And like it was kind of like just like manipulation at that point and like not letting me think for myself if that makes any sense, and it was just like they were pouring this all into me.
So
But
what was your family's reaction to this? Or people who knew you before you like thought of transitioning and they kind
mhm.
of slowly saw you progressively kind of get into the more of the pronouns and the transitioning and more like boy like.
Mhm. Well, my parents were not supportive by any means because they're very Christian, conservative family household, but they still loved me unconditionally, which I think
Yeah.
shows huge. Like they
Mhm.
even though they didn't support any of my decisions, they still were like, I love you. They never hurt me in any way. They never hurt me emotionally, mentally, physically, or anything like that. Like they still were like they still loved me. And they eventually it got to a point whenever then my mom would like go through my phone and she would like see all these things that I was saying. Like I would make fun of my mom for praying for me. I was like, there's one time I like took a picture of my mom and I sent it to my friends and I was like, why is she praying to like a false god or something like that? And like she would like see all these things and then she eventually saw about how I wanted to change my sexuality and that's whenever she was like a hard no, like
Mhm.
you're not going to be allowed to text these friends anymore. Like she was trying to protect me in that. And I like a lot of people are like, "Oh, like that's weird," but like I think it's like perfect. I wouldn't have wanted to go any other way. But my friends, like so my family was like kind of just like my sister's a year younger than me. She kind of thought it was so weird. And so
Just like emo phase.
But my friends beforehand, were like my now bullies, like they were bullying me now, and it just like I don't like that. I don't like the idea of like bullying by any means,
Yeah.
and I just like I wish because like that pulled me farther away from them and closer to people that were not a good influence on me,
Mhm.
and so yeah, but my dad was didn't he didn't accept what I was going through. He thought it was just like a phase, but my mom was definitely a lot more harsh than my dad was. But yeah.
I'm so glad you talked about how your mom like still loved you because I think a lot of kids, and of course I can't speak for everyone, but if they're in the transitioning phase, they believe, or even just like Democrats who are trans believe that Republicans just hate them as an like, individual
Yeah.
so much. And that's not the case. We just think what they're doing is so unsafe. And it's not like we've been doing this for years. So many surgeries. I mean, you were even talking about how you were going to go behind your parents' back and the fact that like you could find a way to even transition without having your parents consent and that kids are doing that. It's more just like a unsafe scary factor. It's not even like we hate you and what you're doing so wrong. It's more just like we want you to be safe, and we
Yeah,
haven't had all these
absolutely.
materials and surgeries over the years so long that like we know that what we're doing is a good procedure. And yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful way to put it. Just like there's so much whenever I speak out about this, they automatically think that I'm just this hateful person. And
Yeah.
like that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Like if you actually got to know me besides what you just assume online, like you would know that like I literally am like I don't care what your background is. I don't care what
Yeah.
you've gone through. Like I will love you as a person and in the same way I will pray for you and the same way that I will pray for someone that is a consistent liar in the same way I'll pray for someone that's consistently cheating on their significant other. Like I don't look at
Exactly.
anybody else differently because like their sin is different, but I'm still gonna pray for that person and I'll still call out their sin. But it just like for me it's like more dangerous whenever it comes to children completely going to throw away their life over something that's probably not going to last. Because, like,
Mhm.
my friends, like, I had, like, a friend group at that time, and I think it was 4 of us, and, like, that wanted to transition, that changed our gender, that changed our name. 4 of us eventually got out of that, and, like, I can't imagine, like, if we actually went through the process. Like, our lives would be absolutely ruined, and, of course, it's not the case for everybody. Like, some people think that they're a boy from, like, whenever they're like 2 years old and eventually like they
Mhm.
will transition. But
Yeah.
most of the case, and like 99% of the cases, it is just a phase. It is.
Oh, yeah, and having parents and friends to tell you the truth and be like, "Listen, like, you're not actually transitioning, like, you're perfect in the body that you were born."
Hmm.
Everyone has, like, something that they don't like with their body, it's normal. Like, there's
Yeah.
so, like, many times in middle school, I was like, "Oh, I hate my nose, I hate my hair, I hate this." Like, it's a normal thing, and I think society pushes it as if we shouldn't be insecure about our bodies and that you should never be insecure. Everyone's insecure about their bodies at some point. Even if you're like
Yeah.
90, you're going to be insecure. And it's so dangerous and scary thinking that middle schoolers and even like kids that are 10 have parents that are telling them
Yeah.
if you don't like your body, you can change it and you can do
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
unsafe surgeries. I mean, it's a safety factor at this point.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the same way that like people like I always hear the argument that's like, "Oh, but people like they do plastic surgery." I don't like plastic surgery. I think that that's
Yeah,
so dangerous also. And imagine telling your 10-year-old if they're like looking in the mirror and they don't like their nose and you're telling them, "Oh, perfect. I don't like your nose either. I see why you don't like your nose, so let's go change your nose up." Like it's terrible. It's terrible.
exactly. And then you were saying that when you went to church camp and
Mhm.
that moment like totally shifted everything for you. So what happened there that like just changed your perspective?
It was um 8th grade. January of goodness gracious, this is I think January of 2022. I think that's whenever it was, January of 2022. It was like a church retreat, church camp thing. Like I
Mhm.
still call it church camp because it was technically still church camp, but
Yeah.
I it was my parents forced me to go. I wasn't a fan of going to these retreats and these camps and stuff, and my especially of what I was going through at that point. And I was just like I absolutely hated it. And I don't even know how to like express this. Like it was just what the pastor was preaching was specifically about not being comfortable where you are and being comfortable in your body. And it was just
Mhm.
like it hit me so hard. That was just like if I knew that God put me there for a reason. I knew that
Yeah.
that my parents wouldn't back down and made me go to this. And um and I like that's whenever I was just kind of like it was just I it's so hard to describe because like it was
Mhm.
kind of like you had to feel that you had to be in that position that I was in, but it was just kind of it just like it literally like hit me like it was like a wave, like it was like a wave of just like realization and like surrealness. And it's just like that like this is what I've been missing out on, like the Lord is what I've been missing out on. And all of this is just like all this sorry, I don't
That's
know how to put this
okay.
I don't know how to put this into the words.
It
Like
was just like
everything
you
that
felt it in
all
the
these
moment.
past yeah, these like past 2 years have been just like a complete like lie. And I like it was kind of like a realization that I've been fed lies for 2 years about
Brainwashed.
about like about who I was, and people like accepting the fact that like that I wanted to completely ruin my body at 13 years old. And it's
Mm.
just like it makes me sad, like, that I even, like that I was that close. Cause like, I've told you this before, like, I wanna be a mom more than anything in my life. I
Mhm.
wanna be a wife, I wanna be a mom, and I know that there are kids out there that do wanna be moms, and, like, the idea that they could ruin their body at 13 years old, and it's legal, and that can ruin their complete chances because it just, like as teenagers, you're going to be uncomfortable in your body. Like, that's what hormones do. Like, it's so it makes me so mad that people, like, don't acknowledge that. Like, you like, whenever before transitioning was even as popular as it is now, parents told their kids, "You're gonna be uncomfortable in your body." But now parents are telling their kids, "You're gonna be uncomfortable in your body, so let's completely change that and make it worse for your body and put you in all these
Exactly.
hormones." And it just like there's poor girls that I know that have gone through getting getting these like the getting hormone therapy and going through the process, and the fertile like the infertility go like shoots to the roof, and like they can't have kids, or they're like it's a 3% chance for them to have kids now because of this, because of something
Mm.
they did at 14 years old. So it makes me so sad.
And you bring up the fact that like your parents still loved you through the process. When you were going through the whole like gender, sexuality, like changing, did you feel their love, or was it more just like, oh, my parents hate me, or was it more just like, I know my parents still love me, I want to still continue this?
Looking back at it, I know that my parents were loving me, but in that moment, because of my friends' influence on me, and
Mm,
because of what they were saying, like, no, there's no way that she is like your mom is a terrible person if she's not going to support you. And like supporting, like you can love without supporting. Like that's
mhm.
as you can love without supporting. And my mom, like, she never once like yelled, like raised her voice at me. She never once like was like telling me that she hates me and that she hates that what I'm doing. But what she did was like talk to me in like kindness and say that this is not something that's okay. But because of my friend's outside influence, I thought like they were saying like, no, she's being a bigot, she's being transphobic, she's being homophobic, and I believed what my friends were saying because they were the influence that I had at that time. And I believe what I was seeing on social media, that these other parents are saying, oh, if your parents aren't supporting you, then they don't really love you. And it's
Yeah.
just like, you like these people have no idea what like the detriments that they're causing these kids right now by saying this stuff online. So
Yeah, that's why your story is so powerful, because I mean, you were so young, 13, and you were thinking about transitioning behind your parents' back. There's other kids that are even younger doing this or even at your age. And most of these kids can't even drive yet. And then they're being told that
yeah,
they can change their gender.
yeah, and
It's
like
like,
you can't even like these they can't even get tattoos, and is not nearly as harmful as hormone therapy or breast reduction surgery is. So
and their parents, I mean, the whole society, TikTok in general, is just confusing them. And it's
yeah,
so sad to see.
yeah, it's terrible. It's and it's even worse than it was a couple of years ago. And so that's why I do what I do. That's why I speak about my story, because I want these kids. So like a lot of people actually, like, this is a very unpopular opinion, but I think that it should be illegal for minors to transition, but I do not think it should be illegal for adults to transition, because and for me, for minors, that's a completely different case because they're so young and they
Mhm.
have no clue, and like they're still going through it. And like a lot of people think that like, oh, I'm just like completely anti transitioning at all. And like the
Yeah.
thing is, like, I don't care what you want to do to your body. I will pray for you. What I think that what you're going through is like I don't support it by any means, but I
Yeah.
don't look at you like any differently. I will still love you unconditionally and I will pray for you, but I'm not going to tell you what to do with your body, if that makes sense.
And when we talked about that and you told me that, because I was very just like, no transitioning in general. And then we were on our phone call and you were like, I think it should be illegal for minors, but then like legal for people, like adults.
Hmm.
And you actually did make me like change my perspective, because I'm like, in America, we should have the choice, the freedom, and all that. And I do believe for adults, they should be able to have that freedom if they want to transition. For
Yeah.
minors, I don't think it should be talked about in schools.
No,
I don't
absolutely
think there
not.
should be little kid books about it. That I feel like no. But like once you're an
It's
adult, for
evil.
sure.
It's evil. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
there's like as an adult, like it's just like you are so much more mature than you are at like 13, 14, 12 years old. And so especially like these like I see all these videos of like 8-year-olds like getting their like hormone therapy, and it's just
they're
like
not developed. We're still
they're
people
not.
in their 30s are still fully trying to develop.
Yeah, exactly. And it's terrible.
And the truth, like transitioning is not always safe, but I feel like the agenda, society, the government pushes it out as almost, they only show the good parts of it and the people liking
Mhm.
it and feeling comfortable. But the amount, how high the suicide rate has gone with people who do transition, and you don't get
Mhm.
the good stories, you only get the successful ones. That's all you get. You
Yeah.
don't get the people who transition and are actually having issues like
Yeah.
obesity, or they
Yeah,
can't
like
have more of a
what's her
chance of
name? Jazz
dying.
Jennings? Is that
Yes.
her name? Jazz Jennings? Like she's
Mhm.
like she regrets it now. And
I
so
know.
it's just so sad. Or
And
he
you don't
regrets it,
get
sorry.
those stories, and it's so oh, speaking of that, because I know you said what is your thoughts on so I know we talked about this, but
Mhm.
let's say like Caitlyn Jenner. I always bring him up because like it makes me just laugh because he thinks he's a woman, but he's
Mhm.
so against like the whole transitioning. And it
Yeah.
just makes me laugh every time. But do you call people by the pronouns that they prefer or what you know they are? Because I mean, you can tell if someone's trans. Like,
Yeah. Mhm. Um, I personally, so I try to be as respectful as possible, and so I will never call them by their preferred pronouns. I will always call them by their what I like what they were born, like plain and simple. But I do try to be as respectful as possible, and I encourage Christians to do this. Instead of saying, for example, "Oh, he walked out the door," I would say something like, "Oh, John walked through the door." I would say their
mhm,
preferred name rather than their preferred pronoun. So if
yeah,
it was a woman going to a man and then they changed their name to John, I would say instead of saying she walked through the door, I would say John walked through the door. Because I want to still like I don't think because like changing your name is completely different because name is not God given. What is
yeah,
God given though is gender. And so I still like I want to be respectful as possible. And like if I do slip up and they like start yelling at me, I'm sorry, but like I don't like lying to people. Like I don't like I used
yeah.
to be like I'm gonna be like very very vulnerable in this. I used to be a compulsive liar, and so it's scared. Like it's I know it's just like I know what it's like whenever people accept the lies also, and so
Mhm.
it's just I've breaking free from that, but yeah.
And I agree with you that I think saying their name doesn't play into their fantasy of them actually thinking that they transitioned
Yeah.
into whatever they wanted to be. But
Mm-hmm.
now I want to switch gears a little bit because this ties right into something that's been very heavy on my mind lately
Mm-hmm.
is trans women competing in women's sports.
Oh my
I played
gosh.
volleyball from 5th grade all the way up to my senior year in high school, and one thing I learned is that you can be such an unathletic guy and crush an amazing volleyball player. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's not hate, it's just biology. And I people always are like, well, not every trans woman is going to dominate a woman. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that could be true, but in biology, men are just stronger than women, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah. And I think a lot of people take away the biology part, and that can go with sex, gender,
Mm-hmm.
boy and girl. And liberals will say that like inclusion is fairness. This is about identity, opportunity. But if we're being honest, like sports were divided by sex for a reason because men and women
Exactly.
are biologically different.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah, and like
There's
even
so
oh,
I
you go.
used to run oh yeah, sorry. I used to run track and I used to do long distance and in long distance the boys and the girls would actually run together. Like you would run together because it just makes it go faster since it's such a long race.
Yeah.
And but you wouldn't they wouldn't be competing the same. Like it would be the boys and then versus like and then the girls. So like for example, because the boy would always win. It's
Hmm.
the boy would always win. We would always practice the exact same. We would do the same hours. We would have the same homework but the boy would always win. And like the boy like they have their own competition versus so like if a boy got first, a girl would also get first in the girls category if that makes any sense.
No,
But
yeah.
you just they would but the boys I think like I don't think I ever like I was pretty decently good at long distance and I don't think I ever beat a guy because of just like how biologically different. And and it's just like it's very hard like because especially whenever it's like in sports like you know that like the guys deserved to be there and like the girls deserve to be there because of how hard they worked and so it's just like it's a huge biological difference in that but that's kind of like my experience with like I didn't compete against the boys, but I know what it's like to like run with boys and like they would
Exactly.
always beat us. And like also some like a big misconception with the liberals is they think that just because they go through transition and hormone therapy that automatically means that they're like they're biologically completely different. But the fact is I've done a lot of research into this. The fact is hormone therapy can it doesn't affect things like height. It doesn't affect things like weight. It doesn't affect things like
The
reaction
puberty.
time.
Like, it
Yeah, it
doesn't
doesn't
take away
affect things like
what their puberty.
bone density, muscle mass. Like it doesn't like it's there's so many things that stay the same after they go through that and that like that will still affect their athletic like what how they do athletically. And it just like and for them to say that they're for women, but then they also are
Mm.
for completely cheating the system and it just like it makes me so sad that like they really think that they are okay with this.
And
But
it's not hateful. Like, again, we're not being hateful. I think Republicans think we're so, I mean, Democrats think we're so hateful when we
yeah.
talk about this and transitioning and they shouldn't be in bathrooms and they shouldn't be in locker rooms or playing sports. We're just trying to protect women because there's obviously a big difference. I mean, Peyton McNabb, I don't know if you know her story. She was in her high school volleyball game and got concussed by a trans
Yeah.
woman and
Yeah.
she can't play volleyball anymore. And it's just all about safety. I mean, and then the more we give into it and play in the fantasy, women are gonna lose their scholarships, their records. I mean,
Yep.
I'm sorry if it was legal for me to take a man on my team, I'm gonna want that man because I know they're gonna dominate the other women.
Exactly. There's a reason why all the men are not on JV and why they're all on varsity. Like there's a reason. It's because they're and like have you heard the Serena Williams story?
Which there's so many. Which like one are you?
So she's never won in women's, and she competed against a guy like in a fun round
Yes.
of like a
Hmm.
two. He's like 200. He's like ranked 200 in men, and he completely dominated her, even though that she is number one in women's, and he's like 200s in men. Like he dominated her, and it's like it shows that like it's literally biological differences.
And like, if sex doesn't matter, then why do we separate sports? Why did
Yeah,
we? Like, I am
exactly,
completely
exactly.
fine for a trans woman team playing another
Yeah.
trans. I'm fine with that. They can have their own separate thing, and then people will get mad and be like, well, they should be included because if they're transitioning to a woman, they're technically a woman. But then it's like their puberty, they were a man. I mean, it's biology. They're gonna dominate these women. It's just safety at this point. It's
Yeah,
not being
exactly.
hateful, and it's like we're not gonna play into that fantasy just to include them when a woman could actually honestly just die from
Yeah,
being destroyed.
yeah.
And then, like, if we go into like, what if we do that for? I mean, football is a weird one, but like baseball, like softball, soccer,
Mhm. Yeah.
lacrosse. I mean, imagine getting hit with a lacrosse stick by a guy.
Yeah, and like
It's just,
wrestling also. Like
mhm,
there's it's crazy. There's so many sports that are just like if I was competing against like I because you can tell like against a biological man in a sport that I know because I also used to play basketball and so like that would like if I walked in and I like saw and I was like walked into the court and I saw that I would walk out because
yeah,
it's not because like I'm trying to protest but it's because of my safety and
hmm,
like it's like I'm like of course like if you're gonna play with like your dad like in the front yard or something like that that's different because he's not actually being like competitive but
exactly.
this biological man is being competitive and he will hurt you. Like it's he will.
And even like if you were playing with your dad, he could be competitive, but in his mind, he's still like, be careful. But if you're
Yeah.
gonna compete on the other side or run with against someone, their whole brain is just win. So they're not gonna be careful and be like, oh, I gotta make sure I don't hit them in the face. No.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I feel like people love to say science is settled, but I mean, we got XX chromosomes or XY chromosomes are in every cell of your body, and it doesn't change with hormones, surgeries, or paperwork.
Yeah, exactly.
It it's I don't know, it's so sad. And I don't know if you've seen on TikTok the woman who got her gym membership taken away
Oh my
for
gosh, I
speaking
have seen
up.
that. Yes, it's
Disgusting.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
And she said that she told the workers in the front desk, and they're like, I'm sorry, we don't know what we can do about it. I mean, she was
And then
naked
yeah,
in the locker room with a guy,
it's
and
it's
she felt uncomfortable, and then she gets her gym membership taken away.
yeah, it's seriously ridiculous.
And I just like think I love reading the comments because it really shows how who people are. And I'm just like, if you
Mhm.
had a daughter, do you want an 8-year old, a 9-year old, a 7-year old, I don't care, in the restroom with a grown man. I mean, at this
Yeah.
point, there's just going to be some pedophiles saying that they're trans and just be in the
Mhm.
restroom to find little girls.
Because whenever you open the door for this, you're opening the door for anything. I mean, we have gender neutral bathrooms for a reason also. Like they can use those, and it's just like, I mean, I think that like for because like I said, I like to be respectful. I think that um we should have gender neutral bathrooms just so that like we don't just so that just to protect women in that.
Yeah,
And because also it's like, and for the men's side, you don't necessarily want to see, like, a decked out dude in a dress. Like, if I was a man, I would still be uncomfortable with that, and
yeah.
so, but also, like, I absolutely do not think that they belong in biological women bathrooms,
And the hard
and
part is a lot of people are uncomfortable, but they don't want to speak up, or they
yeah,
can't speak up,
exactly.
or it's like job opportunities could be lost just for being
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I feel uncomfortable." I mean, she got her
Yeah,
gym membership taken away because she felt uncomfortable.
yeah. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that that this is so normalized at this point.
Mhm.
Like if you would have like said like 20 years ago, like this is where we are, like they would have looked at us like we were crazy. It's
Oh, yeah.
just
And I blame COVID for everything. Like, everything I
yeah.
talk about, I always blame it because I think people and I feel so bad for the people who are stuck in their homes. I mean, my family was like, we're leaving. We're going to Florida and we're just like spending time outside because we're not going to be trapped in a house. And you can like tell the little ones who grew up who were like 5 during COVID, who were stuck in their homes, don't know how to talk to someone making eye
Oh,
contact, can't like
yeah.
present, can't like doesn't like just talking skills in general.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
just so
crazy.
sad.
Yeah. It's all like, and it's just like that they forced like quarantine on us for that long
Mm,
also, and then the vaccines, and it's just like there's so much that could have like honestly like of course it's like a national, like this has never really happened before, and so they
mhm.
didn't know really what to do, and it's just
Exactly.
like, and it's just like we know now what to do, but like we doubt that it's ever going to happen again, so
Yeah. And America's gotten so sensitive that like even stating the basic biological facts is like treated like hate speech.
yeah. If it's crazy because like in like my biology class, like I used to like wear like I have like a pin on my backpack that says XX does not equal XY. And I
Mhm.
got so much hate for that, which is like so crazy because like in biology class, we learned that. We learned that. And it just
Yeah.
like people are just like so sensitive and they put their feelings over facts, and that's dangerous for America. You have to always put facts over feelings or else we'll never get anywhere. We'll never innovate. And some people are just sensitive, and we can't let that stop us.
And we've seen that feelings beats facts in New York.
Yeah.
Like, people are like, I would love a mayor that rides the bus and not Ubers. I'm like, okay, but what is he going to do for New York? Like, that's
Yeah.
great that he makes TikToks with people, hugs people. Like, what is he going to do? He's already asking people for money. Like,
Yeah, I know. That was the freaking like holy switch up. Like at
he was
first
like,
it's like, yeah, I'm gonna give
actually,
everything for free. Everything's gonna be free. And now he's just begging everyone for money. So
I know I completely agree with you though. Facts over feelings because it, I just,
yeah,
it's sad.
yeah.
But Hazel, what's the biggest message you hope people, especially young girls, take away from your story?
Um, um, so one of my favorite words is wait and patience. Those are not the whole sentence, but like wait and patience are
Mhm.
like two of my like favorite words because there's so much lessons that can come from waiting and so much lessons that can come from patience. And first of all, with the whole patience thing and waiting, like if there's girls out there that like are thinking that they want to transition, I would give it some time because if like I mean I can't imagine if I didn't like if I actually went through the process and my parents didn't step in, and my life would be completely ruined. It'd be completely ruined.
Yeah.
Like it terrifies me. And so for like the young girls out there that are thinking that they want to transition, like of course my story is not going to be everybody's story, but I don't want you to risk it. Don't risk
Mhm.
it because that is your entire future ahead of you. And just putting that all on the line for this is it's not worth it. It's not worth it. And you can wait 5 years, you can wait 4 years until you're 18 and you actually think you want to, then I don't support your decision, but I'm always gonna pray for you, and you can all like these young girls can always come talk to me. I'm not gonna shut anybody off because of that, but it just patience. Like, God, you have to wait. You have to realize that like this is a huge decision that will affect the rest of your life. Like it's the rest of your life. Like no doubt about it. And so whenever you have a decision like that big, you can't just make it within a year.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's just like it doesn't just stop with transitioning. Like I know there's so many young girls out there that are just like, I want a boyfriend, like I want to get married, and it's just like there's so much patience that comes with that also because you can't rush into things because like usually like the marriages that you see where they rush into things they don't normally work out. And if you want a
Exactly.
marriage that lasts, like you got to be patient. You got to realize that like the Lord has someone in mind for you. And if you have to wait a little bit, then you got to wait a little bit because that's like the rest of your life with that person. So just patience and waiting. I love those two words so much.
No, and I love how you said that with the marriage part and like getting a
Mhm.
boyfriend. And I mean, this isn't like dating advice, but I will say I think a lot of girls need to know that like because everyone wants a good man, you know? They all want
Yeah,
a good boyfriend, a good husband, but also like you the type of like man that you want, you almost have to like be as a woman because if you're like over here like partying, getting crazy, wearing the skimpiest clothes, but you don't want a man that's going to go for a woman like that, I mean, you can't be like that. You
exactly.
almost
That's
have
that's the perfect way to say it.
because
Like,
there's so many
you got
women
what
that are
is
like,
my mom always used to say, you catch the fish, something like you something about like catching fish that you
I feel
I
like
don't
I
even
know
know
what you're
like
saying.
if you're looking if you're I don't know, I've looked so stupid right now. I forgot what the saying was. But
Yeah.
like
Well,
if
it
you
goes with
if you want
the people you surround yourself with are who you're gonna be.
yeah, exactly. Like if you want a guy that is biblical and you want like that is manly, then you need to like look at that and think, okay, what do you think that his ideal woman would be? And then
Or
you
where
will
would
be that
he
ideal
be?
woman. Yeah. Like
Because
is he
people
gonna
go to
date
the
the girl?
bars and think
Is
they're
he
gonna
gonna
find
date
a
the girl that
Christian
parties
guy.
and drinks a lot, or is he gonna date the girl that goes to church on Sundays and reads her Bible every
Exactly.
night? So become the woman that you want your dream man to look for.
Right. And if parents listening right now and their child is questioning their gender, what advice would you give them?
Um, be involved in your kids' lives. Please do not shun them. It will make it worse. Do not support them by any means, but still love on them. But let them know that like what they're like this is not okay. But please do not do what my parents did. Do what my parents did. Do not accept them, but also do not completely shun them out because it will make it worse no matter what side that is. So just love on them, but don't accept them. And also pray for your kids. You need to pray for your kids because my parents prayed for me every single night and it did work. Prayer does work.
It worked.
And also you it worked. And also you need to be involved in your kids' lives. You really do need to. You need to go through their phone. You need to look at who they're friends with because who they're with will reflect on who they are as a person and where they are going to be heading towards. And so like you can't just like expect their friends to be great people. You have to look into your friends. You have to look through your phone. You have to look through your kids' phones. Like a lot of people don't like whatever I say that, but you have to look through your kids' phones because you need to know what is going on. And
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, like if we look at like everything, like people like the kids that committed suicide or kids that were school shooters, their parents never went through their phones. And then
Mhm.
because they had no idea. And you need to put your child's safety over their comfortability.
Especially now with so like all the stuff we have. Because I mean, back
Mhm.
then I thought like I had a lot of stuff on my phone. Because I mean, I had like YouTube and all that. But now like you can get anything from the
Yeah,
internet, like
yeah,
anything, and it's scary because then you like see these fourth graders already with their big new iPhones, and you're like,
yeah.
what are you like? Why do you need it? You don't even need to text anyone. Like, who are you texting?
Exactly,
Oh,
exactly.
Well, anyways, and finally, what does life look like for you now? What brings you peace and what helps you stay grounded in who you are?
So life for me is it's very busy. It's very
You're
busy.
doing a lot
Um,
of stuff.
yeah. My day, because I'm still in high school, so I go to school from 7:20 to 1, and then I work from 1:30 to 5:30, and and then I get home, I make dinner for my family, and I grocery shop sometimes. I pick my siblings up from school, and
She's ready to be a mom,
and from
y'all.
like and from like their daycares and stuff, and I try to take care of my family, and then I do a lot of research for my videos because I hate it whenever the content creators don't research and they just say whatever, like even if they're conservative, and like I'll listen to their videos, I'm like, this person has no idea. I'm gonna be so honest, like for the whole Mom Donnie thing, like they're calling him like a socialist, and that makes me mad because he's a democratic socialist, and like those are two different things, and like other people are calling him communist. Like I get mad at that because I'm like, I've actually done research into him, and like of course you might be like like scared that he's going to turn communist because like he's a little bit more socialist than like the particular American would like, but democrat socialism is different than communism at all. Sorry, I'm like I
Mhm.
go on to this, but
No, do it.
like I just like content creators that don't really like research and get into that and like fear monger, like that makes me mad. And so I'm devoted to put in research. I'm devoted to put in the truth out there. And so I'm Hazel's truth. And I just like I do a whole bunch of research for probably an hour, and then I'll record depending on if I'm doing a short video or a long video that day. I'll record for maybe an hour, or usually it's probably like 10 minutes to an hour, and then homework, and it just like anyways, I do so much, and I have so much peace and knowing that this is what the Lord has plans for me. He this is I can go in a whole story about
Mhm.
like why I do what I do, and like what the Lord like put on my heart to go into politics.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm doing this for the Lord because I'm doing what he wants me to do. And and just like I have so much peace in knowing that this is the Lord's plan for me, and that he knows what's best for me, and this is all for his do. This is all for his doing, and he ultimately has his say in what happens. And so and he always has the what's best for me. He has his best look out for me, and like he knows what's good for me. And so that's like I have so much peace in knowing that the creator of all like has a life planned out for me, and it's a good life. It's a good life. So
Yeah, and then what would you say for people who may like not be believers or big in faith or grew up in like a Christian or religious household but like kind of fell through it and just didn't love it as much? How would you what advice would you give to them to like get back into the church and stay grounded?
Mhm. I wouldn't recommend going to the same church if that like that's the number one thing. If you were hurt or you weren't really connected to the Lord in a single church, I don't think I think that that would probably be just like you're not that church wasn't for you. I would recommend trying out a new church, and then finding community is huge, huge, because whenever you
Mhm.
find community, like you can see the Jesus glow in people. Like I see a Jesus glow in you. And so it's just like there's so much goodness that comes with the community. And I would recommend this person that is looking to like if they've been hurt by the church, or they're not really looking to go, or they're not like they're atheists, or they don't really believe in God, I would recommend this person to have Christian friends, because
Mhm.
Christian friends, like they could bring so much joy into a person's life. And it doesn't matter if they're atheist, it doesn't matter if this person is homosexual, or if they sin, or if they have any other kind of sin. Like it's just like they're like Christian, like it has to be like there's some Christians communities that are just like so like they want to isolate different people, and those I condemn them. Like that's not
Mhm.
okay. We need to be accepting of all. But um, but accepting also does not mean like confirming to the world. And like you
Mhm.
still need to call out sins. But anyways,
Yeah.
I would recommend like this person to find Christian friends. I know that's probably you don't really want to, but Christian friends, like they'll find so much joy in a person's life. And eventually, like, I know there's so many stories out there where atheists have found Christian friends and then they have gone to faith and like found Jesus through that. So
Yeah, and I'm big on like the whole community thing. Community like definitely helps because I mean, you can go to church every Sunday and like listen to it, but, like having a community that you can like Bible studies on Wednesday nights or like
hmm
communion lunches and like then like you also find friends through that. But also like definitely yeah, going to different church if that church wasn't what you like because I don't think people like it's hard to find a church that like
yeah,
you can't just like go to church
yeah,
you have to like find the church for you. Like it's honestly
exactly,
sometimes like
exactly.
dating. And I think a
hmm
lot of people like step away from being a Christian just because that one church maybe did them dirty. But it's like go
Exactly.
to another church. Like it could just be the church, but it may not be like the whole like gospel.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. Well, Hazel, thank you so much for being here and being brave and
Yes, of
speaking the truth with
course.
love. You're living proof that like identity isn't found in trends or TikTok, it's found in truth and faith and
hmm
in knowing who you were made to be. And to everyone listening, remember you can respect someone's choices without lying about science.
hmm
Compassion doesn't mean pretending biology doesn't exist. And if you like today's episode, make sure to share it and comment your thoughts and tag me at MacyAnn.2 or at Truth or Trouble. And then, of course, follow Hazel at, is it Hazel Truth?
Hazel's Truth, yes.
Yes,
Hazel's
her
Truth on
TikToks,
TikTok and Instagram.
they're amazing. She actually just hit 10K on Instagram, right?
Yeah, I did. And I think I'm like 200 away from 10K on TikTok. So
Yes.
I'm growing.
Well, follow Truth or Trouble for more real conversation the world's too afraid to have. Thanks for listening and always stay bold, stay kind, and don't be afraid to stir a little trouble for the truth. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Just let it pass through. Just put it past you. You do what you do.